Hello, and welcome back to Skyrim 10 AD. It's just been a couple of minutes for us, but I don't know how long for you. But welcome back to Skyrim 10 AD. It's now episode 10. Oh, wow. Last we left off, our merry little band had returned to Falkreath, and they had spoken to Nenya and gotten the reward for clearing out the spiders and some extra enemies as well, pro bono. And while discussing with her, she had wanted to discuss with him a new job that she was hoping that would be able to help her out with. So they headed off to the Falkreath jail, to the barracks of Falkreath, to head downstairs to come up on the scene of what looks to be a priest and a young Nord gentleman standing over another man laying down in a jail cell who seems to be suffering some really strange affliction. And now we join our intrepid travelers as they come upon this view inside the Falkreath jail.
Milady, may I go in the jail and examine the sick one?
I mean, yes, you can. Our this is Runel. He's our priest of our K, and his associate, his counterpart, Kust. They run the Hall of the Dead here in Falkreath. And Runel, sort of like he sees the whatchamacallit, the symbol of Kinnereth upon you, and he goes, a fellow member of the a worshipper of the divines, or servant of the gods. Welcome. Hi, hello. My name is Runel. This is Kust. He aids me in the maintenance of the Hall of the Dead, and he's a really old, elderly elven gentleman. But he puts his hand out to offer you to shake it.
And I take his hand.
Mouse just tries to slip quietly into the shadows a little bit more.
Okay.
And yes, I'm Luke Icewalker, a priest of Kinnereth. I have some medical training, although perhaps your skills may be stronger than mine. Do you know what ails this man?
You look at him and he is very, very flustered. Roll a perception check.
Okie dokie. Ooh, nat 20.
Nice.
For some reason, when you introduced yourself, he was very, very flustered, and something strange just twinkled in his eye. Yes, I'm sorry. So anyway, this gentleman, as Nenya had said, had entered the town. We're not sure what he was doing in this area, but the Crown Guard had caught him, and he had an outstanding bounty. But he wasn't doing too well at the time, so they locked him up. And you approach the gentleman now, and he's just moaning and sort of like leaning from side to side. I've tried numerous amounts of healing spells, and also Zarya herself has had a look at him to see if there's some way we could help him, but it turns out the only thing that could help him was giving him the skooma that we found on him it seemed to allay the effects. It seemed to allay the effects, even reverse it with him. But he didn't have much of a supply left, and when that ran out, his situation deteriorated drastically, and thus we have this. And you look down, and it is really bad. It's his hands are really flat. He's starting to get really thin, and his eyes are sunken, and he's not really concentrating on anything. He's just moving from side to side. He's sometimes flinching, and you can see these black, kind of like veins coming out, or like roots of a tree, start to spread up the side of his neck and up into his cheek, and down the side around behind his ear.
Colin, I'm sending you a private question in Facebook Messenger.
Okay. So Butty or Butty Jaquai, anything to say, or do you not looking?
I've never seen anything like this, Jaquai.
I'm not getting anywhere close to that thing.
I agree. I take another step backwards.
I would just step quietly up behind Jaquai, still trying to stay out of line of sight of Runil in particular, and just whisper in his ear, do you think it has something to do with Periite?
I am not familiar with Periite.
So Colin, I'd like to make a medicine check just to see if I can determine any detail. Bearing in mind what we were told by Runil.
Yep. So if you want to, you are going to examine the body. So yeah, just make a medicine check.
He said, "But he's still alive, though, right?
He's still alive.
Very, very bad shape, but alive. Yeah. Okay.
Bad.
Yeah. All right. I will medicine check. Oh dear! Literally a 1. Complete fumble of all medical skills.
As you're examining,
Mouse gets up and walks out of the room. No, not just kidding.
As you're examining him, you, for some reason, inadvertently poke him in the eye.
I try to give him a hernia check by mistake, you know.
and
He's already coughing.
Yeah, Runel sort of like gives you this really like look. He goes, "Are you sure you know what you're doing, young man? This man is already injured. You do not need to. I know he wasn't a good man in life, but at this stage, I don't think more suffering is what he needs."
Let's see.
But you don't pick it up anything. You think it? No, natural one. You don't know nothing. You don't know anything. Yeah. He's real sick, real bad, and his eyes kind of red for some reason.
Yeah, I just because I can, I'm sure it won't work, but I feel terrible not to do anything for him. I'll cast I'll cast a bless on him, a bless spell on him, so that if he has to make a saving throw or anything, that he'll have an opportunity to use the blessing.
Okay.
So I'll just and my experience is that this is not a wound. This is not something that a cure wounds spell would be effective against. Correct?
You wouldn't know from your medicine check.
Okay.
But, just intelligence-wise, you would think that a priest of Arcay would already have done, like, cast healing spells, done all he could to try and sort of remove whatever it was that was afflicting him. But you would assume that he would have tried all of this, but So as you lean forward to cast a bless spell, and you cast it, he looks at you, and his eyes kind of lock on your shield, and it's this really skinny, frail hand, sort of like reaches over and starts to reach for the shield.
I bring my shield closer. If it will give him comfort, he's welcome to touch it.
And that's all he does. He just, as you bring it up and put the bottom of it to sit on the table that he's at, he just pushes his hand and places his hand on the visage of Kine, and he just closes his eyes. And then he sort of like starts coughing again, but he doesn't remove his hand. Nenya sort of like turns to you, and she sort of like taps you on the shoulder, and you all come sort of like kind of nodding to you to come over to the other side of the jail to talk about.
Wait, at this point, I don't want to leave my shield, but I'll I'm trying to think what I could do here. I guess I'll use some holy I'll use some holy water to draw the symbol of Kine on his forehead or something, just to recognize that maybe apparently it means something to him, and then I'll take my shield and follow Ninya out.
Yeah, his hand just slides down the shield and falls back down to his side as he kind of like slips in and out of consciousness. The jerking and the sort of like the coughing sort of like keeps on waking him up and preventing him from getting any sleep. But she calls you over to the other side of the jail while Runil and the other gentleman keep an eye on him. Do you join them?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I join Ninya if she's motioning us out of the cell. I follow because my skills are exceeded by this situation.
Is that all of you?
Yes,
Yeah, you all follow. Yeah. So she goes over and she goes, not a very, and she's sort of like rubbing the side of her temple. It's not not a very nice sight. I wanted to show you, but I'm afraid with your the timing and of what coincided with the gentleman that you found on the road into Skyrim that you said you had dealt with, leads me to believe that they were probably associates of his. And I was just thinking, seeing as they may be related, you'd also be willing to help us out with this situation. I know it's probably not ideal, but I was just hoping you'd be able to help us out here. We have no idea how to help him or anything, or what's even wrong with him. The only thing we knew is that when we first put him in, he was starting to get worse and worse, and he just kept on begging for us to give him skooma, and we just thought he was just a normal addict. One of the guards mentioned before that he'd never seen this way before. He was a dirtbag, they said, his words, but it wasn't like this before. He used various pseudonyms, but the one that seems to keep up is Lemkins or something. But he just kept on screaming for it and getting more adamant, and then his health just deteriorated rapidly. So I made a decision to give it to him, and almost instantly he kind of recovered. And then giving to him once a day, his symptoms started to disappear, but it didn't last for very long, and then it just got out. And then after about a week, he lost the power of speech, and now here we are. And it doesn't look like it's going to be too long, but I need to know if this is something. These gentlemen have been with him. Runil has been with him the most, and he seems no signs of sickness. The only thing I can think of is hopefully it's something that he ingested or something that he took. But I just don't know why the skooma would help. And I wondered if you had any insights or anything you found on those two gentlemen that you met out on the road to have any clue or you would find anything to help us.
Mouse would like to ask her if it's a specific kind of skooma, or does any skooma help?
You see, it's skooma. We destroy anything we find. We only kept that because it was evidence we were going to use it to. But we haven't tried anything. I spoke to a couple of people in town to know if they would be able to procure some, but they haven't, and they were not quickly forthright about coming to the fore with information of where we could buy it from.
So it's only the skooma that he had with him, presumably from back up near
Yes, and
Haldir's
that is the strange thing. And she goes over to this footlocker, and she opens up. She takes out that little bottle again that she showed you around, and she goes. The guards did recognize that the bottle does look different than normal. Well, of the skooma bottles that they've seen, that they've confiscated before, the bottle looks different.
I'm going to look over at Luke because I don't remember what the bottles look like in Haldir's camp.
You weren't in them,
right? So,
yeah. So I didn't save it, so I'll examine it and see if it rings a bell or not.
make a history check.
Okay. See if we can do better this time. Let's see. That is definitely better. Much better. Let's see. I am proficient, so I have a adjusted 20.
Oh, so this is exactly the same bottles as you found. The anger, even though clouding your judgment at the time, finding those bottles on you, you keep on having flashbacks of it, and these are exactly the same bottles that were found on the gentlemen that were attacking outside near the border of Skyrim.
And I confirm for Ninya and the group, yes, that's the same.
And
we found a couple of bottles empty, and I think maybe one with some contents that I destroyed.
Okay. Right. Wow. And there was nothing else on the bodies, I assume. Nothing of note. And she's sort of like kind of thinking to herself. Goes, I know it's strange to ask, but if you were to, on your travels, come across somebody who would provide some skooma, I would be obviously give you the money to try and help this gentleman out. But also, if you could find out some information, if there is somebody selling it, maybe they know where this one came from. Or maybe they know something.
Mouse will reach over and take the bottle because he knows Luke doesn't want to touch it.
Yeah, she sort of like she goes, she hands it over the bottle to Colin. Now, obviously, this is, as I said, a delicate situation. But if the locals were out in the middle of the forest, so I don't think you could find somebody. It looks like it's going to be fairly soon in the condition that he's in, and according to what Runel has been telling me. But just if you could try. Really, ideally, I just need to know if there's a danger to Falkreath.
I would ask her if she is, humanity aside, is she very concerned about saving Lemkins, or is she simply more concerned about Falkreath itself and the citizens of Falkreath?
I know it's an awful way to go, but people have done certain things, and things come around. I'm not here to speak for the whole of Falkreath, or to anybody else, I just want to help out people and make sure that nobody else gets hurt.
Understood, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay. If you don't mind, just give me 1 second. She sort of like walks over and she talks to Runel, and they're having a quiet conversation. And Runel says, he goes, "Well, I should probably go. It doesn't look like too much time to go until he looks very weak, and I'm going to go and prepare at the hall." And he heads out, and Koost follows him out and up the stairs.
What color is that skooma?
The bottle itself is green. I think it was green. Remember? The bottle is green. It's sort of like kind of small. There is some like markings around it that are sort of like scratched into the bottle, but you don't recognize any of the markings.
But lady, are the other two men in the cell, are they in any way related to the sick prisoner?
Two men. Sorry, I there was no other two men.
Oh! You were describing Runil and okay. You were describing Runil and Koost. Okay, I got it. I had them. I had in my head as they were also in the jail. So I got it.
Mouse would like to sniff the bottle and see if he can recognize anything.
Let's see. Roll an intelligence check, please.
Sorry, 19. Excuse me, no, 21.
You it's very sweet smelling, as it's made with moon sugar, and you get that, but you don't pick up on anything that could be related to what's inside it, other than the moon sugar, the sweetness of the smell.
So it smells like normal skooma, basically.
Yes, there's nothing extra in there that you could pick up just from smelling it.
Well, if anybody could help us identify this skooma, it would be the Khajiit caravans.
I would agree, absolutely.
So since we need to seek them out anyway, because...
We do?
We do. Part of our journey has been to find my brother. I've helped out with the projects along the way because I knew we needed to have some supplies and some money to make it around Skyrim. But at this point, I need to be true to my mission and look for my brother in earnest. And since at this point it could align with what we're doing here, I would suggest that we go look for the Khajiit caravans.
Didn't we hear someone mention Dragon Bridge?
And then she goes, "Oh yes, it's the Khajiit trading post. I don't. the name seems to be right on, but I did hear Ataba say that he said, well, that's what the Nords called them all, so he decided to keep it simple, like the Nords. But yes, it's in Dragon Bridge, but that is a ways away. I was discussing with Jaquai here, and she sort of like nods to you, and she says about we had the Khajiit caravans. They didn't stop here to trade or any. Well, they did stop to trade once in a while, but mostly it was a stopover as they headed towards the border of Cyrodiil to sort of like pick things up and drop things off. As they're expanding their businesses, and they brought a lot of money here. They brought a lot of money in, took a lot of produce out. But we had a bit of a falling out with a couple of. It was a business transaction that people didn't see. And there was a few insults on both sides. Because I recall hearing knuckle dragging mountain troll, but she goes, they used to pass
I'm
through
sure
here.
if a Khajiit called somebody a knuckle dragging mountain troll, they must have been one. Because we Khajiit are very respectful of other people.
Oh, of course you are. Yes.
Well,
at least people with money.
It was just, and she sort of like kind of calms down a little. It was just a little not misunderstanding, different viewpoints. They had wanted to buy some products, and in return, in trade, they were offering this dagger that they had. And of course, with any magical items, the locals bring them to me to identify them first to make sure that they are indeed what the seller is selling. So, and I cast my spell and I found out what it does. And it was a very, very powerful enchantment. And it was worth what they were asking. The dagger, however, I'm not sure how he put it, but he said it was the most God's awful work of the damned he had ever seen. And it was, according to him, an abysmal representation of a weapon, a butter knife. Would have been better. From the gist of it, I said it was just crudely, badly made, unbalanced, and wouldn't damage, butter or something along those lines. And that was the concern. Nords seem to believe that a weapon should be finely made, finely crafted, and look fine. But that's not what the Khajiit decided. It escalated from there.
So where is the nearest stop on the Khajiit caravan?
Oh, that would definitely be Whiterun. They seem to bypass now instead of... you would have to be extremely lucky to catch them. They used to come through here on the way, but now they bypass and go down along the lake and then go around the lake and then head up that way, so avoiding Falkreath. But yes, definitely Whiterun if you wanted to catch them where they would stay for some time. But again, that's a ways away. It's about a week's travel, I would think. But do we have an agreement? Would you mind accepting this as a, let's say, a contract? It's not something I can really give you an official writ of no job to do, but I'm sure we have an understanding. Yes.
I mean, I look at Jaquai in particular, catch his eye and nod quietly. I have no doubt that Luke will be on board.
I follow Mouse's lead and give a nod.
Mouse would like to do just one thing since Runil and Kust have gone now. He'd like to just quietly walk back into the cell where the sick man is. And he'd like to lean down very close and just whisper in thieves' cant, "What happened to you?" to see if he gets a reaction.
Okay. And that's all you get. You don't.
That means fuck off. I'm dying in thieves' cant.
But there was a note of recognition in his eyes when you did speak. So, and then he says, he goes, that is excellent. Again, sorry for having you deal with something so unsightly, or that's not the word. But thank you very much, and I need to get back to. If you can head back to and enjoy your night, probably head up. It's probably nighttime, and judging from the times that you've been in here, it's back and forth. After having something to eat, you're probably looking at around about 7, maybe 8 p.m. at this point.
Which is it? I need to ask. 7:30?
Yeah, about 7.
Okay. So we're heading out of the barracks now.
So and then you ends up and sort of you're all headed back outside, and you follow her up, and the guard comes back down and follows out, and enters in the room with the man who's sick.
Mouse would like to stop into the merchant's store if he can.
We can
do that tomorrow. I forget the name of the store now.
Grey Pine Goods.
Grey Pine Goods. Thank you. He has a couple things he'd like to pick up.
Okay, so you're headed to.
But first, he needs to split the gold with everybody because he's carrying the pouch.
So, are you going to do this in the guards' barracks before you leave?
I think that's a safe place, don't you guys? I look around and ask if this seems like a safe spot.
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's 50 gold, I believe, and there's 4 of us. I think Jaquai deserves a little extra for his exceptional bravery in the tomb of the Draugr.
Well, we also have almost an equal sum from our prior from the actual adventure. So I pull out the other common booty, which is about 45 gold roughly, counting some silver and coppers and such as that.
Mm-hmm. So we have about 95 gold then.
And also we also have a silver ring and an unknown scroll and a potion of healing, which I'm keeping
Yes.
separately. But so we have. But in terms of cash, yes, coin we have about 95 gold.
Okay, so that's about 20 to 23 apiece plus some extra. Does that sound fair? Do you guys want to have a communal pouch or
why don't we take 20 each, and then the remainder can be our communal pouch for supplies. We appear to have a long trek ahead of us.
Sounds good. All right.
As you just get to the door, as you start talking, she's like, oh. And her curiosity is sort of like piqued as she looks at the scroll that Pat had pulled out. She goes, oh, what do you have there?
I'll show it. We found this in the cave where we killed the bandits.
She goes, oh, do you know what it is?
We don't, my lady.
Ooh. And she looks at you, Jaquai. What does it say? As she's pointing to the scroll, she looks at you and asks you, what does it say?
And I...
She sort of like reaches out and she sort of like reaches for the scroll from you, Luke.
I hand her to her. I let her take.
She sort of like holds it, stands it up on its end, so it's standing up, and she sort of like turns it to face you, Jaquai, and there's Khajiit writing down the side of the scroll. And she can't read Khajiit, so she points to you to read it. And you have a look at it. And it reads, Jizargo's Experimental Scroll Mark II.
Awesome.
So she asks you, what does it say?
No, that says Jizargo's Experimental Scroll Mark II.
Oh, well, experimental. Would you mind if I have, like, I promise I won't damage it, but it just to have a look to see what it actually does. Would you mind?
I think it's better in your hands than ours.
Okay. Give me 1 second. And she goes, if you actually come with me. She goes, I don't want to waste a spell. So she sort of like, she rushes it out. She sort of like marches with the scroll and sort of like heads off to the longhouse with the scroll in hand. Do you all follow her?
We got to see where this is going.
So you all rush over to the, and she heads upstairs, and as you can see, there's a little enchanting table there, and opens up a room, and she sort of like takes out a little book, and you recognize the book, similar to what you found in the Holdier's Cane. It's a spell book. And she spends the next 10 minutes, and she lays the scroll down, and she's just examining it, things like that. She goes, that's... Oh. She goes, it's really, really strange. She goes, on the face of it, it seems to be a basic flame, a scroll of flame cloak. It's very, very powerful. The wielder reads off the incantation, and they would be surrounded by fire, so that anybody who came close to him, probably within like 5 meters or so, would be set on fire. But there's also there's this there's something in there as well that's to do with the firebolt spell, but I'm not too sure. It doesn't seem they don't seem to be marrying up quite exactly right. But it looks very, very, very interesting.
Oh, wait just a minute. That smudge on the scroll name, I believe that is Puapa, which means explode. I might have misinterpreted that originally.
That would be, I would be considered dangerous, but well, it's out of my hands now, and he hands it back to you, Jaquai.
Luke, you've managed to keep this thing safe so far. Here you go.
So, marking your inventory no longer unknown scroll, you now have Jizargo's experimental scroll Mark II.
Excellent. Because it's Jizargo, it's part duh.
Okay, I think it might just stay in the pack. Oh my!
So, you got to finish up. She goes, "Oh, thank you. Yeah, you can. Thank you very much. That was fun. You guys, let me know how it goes." As she's waving to you, to quiet. And also, let me know how it goes. Again, pointing to you, Jaquai.
Indeed, I will.
You were too kind. So you all head out of the longhouse, and it's probably roughly about 7:30 now. Are you heading over to Grey Pine Goods?
I am, for sure. Or Mouse is, I should say.
And the rest
Yeah, and so I think the group said it was going to take about a week to get to. We're headed to Whiterun, right? That was the consensus.
Is there a carriage we can take?
not that you know of.
Oh, okay. Don't have that mod, huh? Let's see. Yeah, I'd like to stop into Grapevine Goods.
Yeah, same here. I need to replenish supplies for that longer trip.
The rain is starting to come down a little heavier now as you step outside. As you step outside, one of the guards turns around. I heard what you did up in that mine. He goes, a brave man who walks into a cave full of spiders and carries on going. And you jump across to get underneath the hood of the blacksmiths, so you're not getting rained upon. And you just see Lod there to you, Mouse, just working on the tanning wreck. Sort of like he's just wandering away.
I just say hello, Lod.
Yeah.
How's the dog? How's the dog?
He goes quiet as ever. He goes, pity you couldn't. Sorry. And he goes, pity more people couldn't act like that. And as you all were past, you look to your left and you see a long grey tail coming out from behind the forge. So the fire pit of the blacksmith forge. You just see this long grey tail. Is this what you assume is this dog lying down behind the nice and warm coal pit?
Nice. Okay.
So you head down in, and along the side you get to Grey Pine Goods and try the door, and it's still open. And you step on in.
All right. Well, I, for one, would like to buy a bag of ball bearings If I may.
You'll be the new adventurers or the new strangers in town. Well, welcome. This is my shop. And he looks right at you, Jaquai. And he just goes, I thought we've already been through this. He's looking right at you, Jaquai.
And I'm stepping closer to Dequai. Shoulder to shoulder.
You're not welcome here. Get
and
out.
Staring straight at Solaf.
And I go stand on Jaquai's other shoulder and give the same stare right back.
I don't care.
I say, I'm here to spend money.
Yeah, you can spend your money. But I don't want him in my shop. Not after what his friend's done.
I look over at Jaquai and raise an eyebrow.
And Jaquai just quietly stands there and looks at the man. I wasn't intending on buying anything from you anyway, sir.
That's fine. Then get out.
Well,
You hear some footsteps coming down from upstairs. And
don't try to shortchange my friends either.
he goes, I'm an honorable salesman, unlike your friends. They were trying to sell me a piece of crap weapon. I don't care what the hell it does. He goes, if it doesn't stab something, it's not worth having.
Pity we don't still have the knife. I could demonstrate its usefulness on you.
Behind you, you hear a woman's voice, and she goes, I doubt it'd be quick enough. There's a very large Nord woman standing behind you. And she's in what appears to be hide armor. And there's flecks of blue, and there's a blue leather strap that goes around her arm that's tied to it. And she has a rather large iron mace down at her side. She says, "Yes, because if dragons can't kill me, no little whelp like you is going to." Listen, if he wants to spend money,
I'm rolling an acrobatic. I'm going to spin around behind this woman without touching her.
okay. So yeah, roll an acrobatics check.
Okay.
So you're just going to spin around behind her, yeah?
Yep. So 14 plus 6. So 20.
Okay. See. You rolled a 14, yes?
Yeah. And then my acrobatics is +4, +2.
Yeah, so yeah, she rolled a 2 on her reaction. So she just didn't move. But she still doesn't move. Now that you've gotten around to the back of her, she's still just standing there with you to the back of her. She's not concerned at all. And she goes, are you here to spend money or are you here to dance?
I'm not here for either. I was just visiting with my friends.
I'm here to spend money.
And Solaf looks at her and goes, so you are the new visitors came in recently. Huh. You are not with the caravan, I assume?
We are not.
I'm not with the caravan,
I'm
nor
not
is my friend
talking
here.
to you.
I'm not with the caravan either.
Then you should have said so. So, if we need the money, just deal with them. She heads out and walks out the front door. Solaf just leans there and he goes, "Women get married," they said. Well, you can see how that works out. Well, what do you want? I got my
Field rations for a week.
Well, if it's food, you might want to speak to Valga in the inn. She'd probably have better food than what I have. I've just got the odd bushel of apples or something like. Or you'd probably be. Actually, you're better off talking to Matthias as well if you want some fresh produce as well.
Yeah, so I stepped up to the counter and say, I'd like a bag of ball bearings. I'd like a lantern.
Yep, no worries. He turns around and he kicks open a chest, pulls out a lantern. He goes, "How many ball bearings? Normal bag?"
Yeah, just one bag, please.
What's with the ball?
I'm going to make you swallow them, buddy.
I quietly back away.
I'd like a hooded lantern, sir.
Get two while you're in there.
2 hooded lanterns.
No worries.
And a length of rope.
I have rope already.
Never hurts to have 2 ropes.
Okay.
I also have a rope.
Do you want the rope or not?
Yeah, I asked for the rope. I'll take the rope.
So Luke's buying the
Right.
rope. Okay.
So, other lantern, and
I'm also getting a hooded lantern along with the rope.
okay.
I'm looking
I'd
at my.
also sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Victor.
I'd like to buy 20 arrows.
I've got some arrows. They're just normal arrows. If you want good ones, you'll have to talk to Lud.
Thank you, sir. I'll do that. Thank you for your honesty.
No worries. Heard you helped out. He's sort of like he's got his back to you, still looking through his arrows, and he goes, "Heard you helped out, Matthias."
I always try to help Matthias. I remember what happened.
Yeah. Well.
Bad cess, that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well. Here you go. 200 lanterns. Rope. Oh, wait. You're taking this together or you're separately?
I think
Together.
for this we'll take, yes, together.
Yeah, right. 200 lanterns. Once a rope, bag of ball bearings, and you don't want the arrows. You have a look around the shop. Make a perception check.
Who?
Anyone. If you're looking around the shop, you can make a perception check.
Mouse gets 6.
Is anybody else having a look around the shop?
Yeah. 13 for me.
10 for body.
15 for Jaquai.
You have a look around. It's just a normal fare. It's not really anything special. He hasn't got anything that really expensive. Hanging out on, probably on the top shelf, you probably see. You would probably the only one who would probably notice it. It's on the top shelf over to you're facing the back of Solaf, and it's up to the far left on the top of these shelves. And what you see is some Nordic sword that's inside a case that's all locked up. Go to the top, and you can just see the top of the case because the top of the cupboard sort of like kind of blocks it off, and because you're further back at the back from everybody else, you can see just above it. You can see the tip of a Nordic sword just at the very back. But on that, nobody else sees anything of interest that would sort of like spark of anything that they'd want. Anything else?
Thank you, Solaf. No, not for me.
Nor for I.
I am not sure how much all that would come to.
I took 11 off mine, and we were buying it communally, but let's see.
I don't have anything in front of me now.
Rope is 1 gold for 50 feet. Lanterns are 10. Oh, hood and lanterns 5. So,
Silver or gold?
according to this, gold. GP, gold piece.
Wow.
So that'd be 6 for Luke for the rope and lantern. Unless you want me to buy all of it, which is fine.
No. We said we'd buy communally. We had 15 or so in the party shared.
Well, for that, I think we're talking amongst ourselves. I think we should use the communal gold for our rations.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'd like to stop in at Lod's, see if Lod's still there. I know it's getting late, but see if I can get some arrows from Lod.
No worries.
Okay, so I'll mark off 6 then for the lantern and the rope.
Okay, and I dash out the door to see if Lod is still at his forge.
Actually, I follow Mouse too. I actually want to check Lod's stock as well.
Do we still have time?
As you're coming out, you see him sort of like, he's put his hands inside the water trough, and he's just washing them off as he's walking towards the front door of his house.
Lod, you got time for a sale?
And he sort of like turns around and starts walking back towards the forge. He doesn't say anything.
I'll take that as a yes. Excellent. So we walk over. What kind of arrows you got?
Yes, well, give me a second here. And trying to think. So far, I've got some normal steel arrows. Good enough.
Good enough.
It's what the guard use. He goes,
Yep.
If you want me, I need better ones. You'd have to pay me up front, and I can make them for you, but you'd have to come back.
Nope, steel's fine, sir. I'd like 40 at 1 gold per 20.
Yeah.
You got enough? All right.
Yeah, that's no problem. As I said, it's what the guard use. So they're always
It's perfectly serviceable.
So yeah, he hands them over.
So Lord, my name is Luke. Recently come into town with my friends here.
I've been hearing about you gentlemen, and the little girl there. What can I help you?
Do you have a flail or a one-handed warhammer?
Nice.
Let me have a look here. And he goes over and he sort of like, he's got a few things on the table, and then he's looking through his rack. He goes, I do not have a flail. It's kind of fancy, but I do have a maul.
I hate to give up a hate to give up a shield of Kenarath. So, do you know how to make a flail or a one-handed warhammer?
Well, are you talking about like a light hammer, like one that can, like the throwing hammers?
No. So Colin, I'm looking at. So what I'm looking for, just to cut to the chase, out of character, I'm looking for the bludgeoning weapon, one-handed bludgeoning weapon. So the mace is kind of only so, but then the flail and the the D&D warhammer is the one-handed.
Yeah, it's versatile.
Yeah.
As long as we're
I
going...
go.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I got a warhammer. Yeah. And you guys, I mean, why you'd want to swing it one-handed, I don't know, but it can be. You're a big fella. You're strong enough.
I brandish my shield. I can't give up the protection of Kenarath.
Yeah, but you can still wield it in one hand. It's a versatile weapon.
And I reach for it and say, may I give it a swing?
Go for it.
While Luke is making his practice swings, may I go also slightly meta here? Are we going by Skyrim metal levels? Can I buy a dwarven or an elven dagger for a better, or is just a dagger here?
Yeah, a dagger is a dagger.
Okay.
Also, magical items are a little bit more difficult to find as well. Well, a lot more difficult to find.
Okay.
So I take the measure of the hammer. I said, how much for the hammer, my good sir?
That one.
It's 15.
You already bought that, yeah. You 15 gold. He goes, but I don't know. I've been hearing things. So let's say 13 for the hammer. And this is usually a quiet town, and things come around. It takes the guard a while to deal with things. It's nice to know that somebody sort of like can knock them out. So yeah.
Thank you, sir.
13 gold. Okay. I don't get all much here. Just give me the fucking money.
Hey, and I show him my mace and I said, would you like to put this in the stock to see if you can sell it? No, it's yours since you did me such a good turn with the price.
Well, it's actually kind of old and well worn, and I mean, I can't resell it. Stripping it down for parts is going to barely give me anything.
No, it's yours. It's yours. A good smith knows what to do with any mountain.
Well, I'll take it off your hands.
All right, I let him have it.
One last thing, Laud. I know you want to get back home and have a bottle of ale and enjoy the company of your fine mutt there. Would you happen to have a whip that I could buy?
I swear to God, or I swear to the gods, he will tear your head clean off. And then suddenly, you see this mountain of a dog just stand up. He's probably just a little over waist height to you, Mouse. And he stands up and he turns around and he has one of his ears has been carved off. He has a scar over his right eye. And he turns around and he looks at you and he has this sort of real calm, sort of like far away look that you see in sort of like old soldiers. And he sort of like slowly sort of rises and he pushes you to one side as he walks past it. He goes, and Lord turns around and he goes, don't worry about him, Vigilance. He just likes to mouth off.
He's just a mouse.
And he pushes off and he heads towards the door. He knows it's going home time.
So no whip. Oh, well.
So one last thing, I would like to buy some darts if you have them available.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, so I can... Okay, cool.
No, the dog pushed past you. He pushed you.
Oh yeah, no,
dog
I thought the dog was signaling the end of the.
No, it was after you said like when you called him mutt. He got up and he just sort of like gave you a dirty look and sort of like walked past you and pushed
He
you.
was just done with Mouse.
Yeah. So
I can't believe you heard me say that. Sorry.
Did you say a whip?
Yes, a whip, please. Two gold.
2 gold. Sure. You get you this strong leather whip. It's base brown color, coils up really nicely, and it's got a purple tab that sticks out the very back of the handle, and it's got the full crease stag on the little purple label that sticks out the back of the other thing. And
Charles really into branding.
did you? He looks up to you. And he goes, "Did you want a really, really ugly dagger?"
It depends on the price, and I'd like to see it first.
No, he's talking to.
Does it have a nice enchant?
Oh, I'm sorry.
He's talking to a guy. He goes. I was stuck in the middle of that shit. Did you hear about it?
I have, sir.
And he goes, I was surrounded by him. I had them in front, him to the left, and then poor Nenya. That poor one. But anyway, you said darts, right? Darts. I got some darts. I keep on losing my page. They're not on here. Probably darts.
They're 5 copper.
5 copper. There you go. 5 copper pieces. Thank you very much, sir. He goes, not sure what you're going to do with them. I don't think there's a board over at Dead Man's Drink. You'd probably have to go to Whiterun to get something like that.
As it happens, I'm going to Whiterun, and I may need some darts.
If you're going there, he goes, that's probably where you'd probably find your flail. At War Maidens. Certainly made a name for herself. Good on her, but the good old Smith, he sort of like, he starts to get really embarrassed now that you mentioned that you're going to Whiterun. Well, if you ever need any more basic steel, you can come back and see me anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
I say, Lord, I will always come to you first.
I'm going to get my dog to eat you one of these days.
And your little dog.
So you guys all head back to Dead Man Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord heads in. As you're heading over there, you see Solaf coming out of the front of Grapevine Goods, and he's also heading over to Dead Man's Drink, heading inside, just ahead of you. So you head across and head on in.
You quite make sure that he's right behind him so that he can hold the door for him.
So you shuffle along, sort of like get some hiccup, and you giddy up and get up behind him, and he's sort of like, he does hold it for a split second, just enough where you get through, and he heads up off to the top table left, where the woman you saw earlier on coming out of the Although I supposedly from what you heard from his wife, and he heads up and sits next to her. It's a little bit later in the evening. Kust is there. You see him. He's on the opposite side. He's sort of like just taking his seat. And I've forgotten his goddamn name. The bard is up there having a sing song, and he's sort of like he's just slowly tapping away. And Delacourt, and he's just tapping away on his drum, and he's thinking about it. He's just putting it away, and you see him reaching for his lute. He goes,
After 10 years of him, nobody's plucked his strings.
So he looks over to you and he goes, and he goes, a wandering adventure's return. And he goes, care for a song?
I look at Buddy.
He looks at Buddy.
Always.
Oh, right. And he goes, and I heard you're a fan of a particular hero. And he goes, give me a second. And he plucks, gets it, tunes it, and then he begins to sing The Dragonborn Comes. And he's slowly, and he's probably just about to start with, just at the start of the second verse, when you hear from the far left of the table, Delacourt, he goes, you don't stop singing that shit. He goes, I'm going to break your jaw. And it's coming from the woman sitting next to Solaf. And Delacourt, he stops. He's like, Jolly, I'm trying to do my job here. Do you mind? And he goes, no, do you mind? Just don't sing about that bastard. And Solaf sort of like just sits there drink, and Valgar goes, Jolly, we all know how you feel, but he is a bard. He's supposed to sing, and what he sings is what he's supposed to do. And he goes, well, as long as he doesn't sing about that traitorous bastard, because he can sing about anything he wants. He goes, but when I come in here to pay for my drink and pay for my food, I want to enjoy my time here. I'm not listening to some Daedra worshipper. Everything goes silent. And Delacourt, he goes, is there anything else you would like to hear?
Mouse is staring at Delacourt with a very stony look on his face.
He starts where he left up, starts continuing to sing The Dragonborn Comes. And she goes, Fiotley stands up, and as you're walking, you can see that the top of her armor sort of like comes out, and this straight edge scar right at the middle of her chest, just above the top of the armor where you can see it. And it's kind of strange. It is a scar in the skin, but it's kind of has this purplish hue to it. Every once in a while, it sort of like kind of glints in the light and of this purplish hue. And she sort of like stands up and starts walking towards the horse, and she goes, I didn't watch all my friends die to that piece of shit just to listen to you fucking singing songs about that fucking bastard. And then here from behind Valga, you hear, war never changes. And forward from the back, you see Roland Stolnar stepping forward, or Ron, as his wife Valga called him. And He steps over and goes, "What is it with you Stormcloaks? You're the ones who started that fucking war. And when you start to die, when people who are trying to kill you try to kill you, you do nothing but piss and moan." That's what he was there for. She goes, "I went to fight men. I went to fight other soldiers so I could free Skyrim. Not Daedra. Not dragons. Standing on Fort Greenwall, watching my men and my friends burned alive from the sky. That is not war. That is a monster destroying a ruin. I didn't see any, not one Imperial soldier in that fucking keep. I see him. I see him standing on that tower with 8 men rush at him, while I lie on my back and a Daedra boot on my head as he is about to plunge his ill-got, disgusting blade into my chest. And just as it hits, he vanishes to stand on the very fucking keep of where my men were rushing, and over me stands that filthy Daedra worshipping bastard. And I lay there, bleeding and dying as I watched that Daedra cut down 8 men. That's what happened. I have told you before, that is no hero. That is a Daedra worshipper. And he will be the death of Skyrim if you honor him like this again. Do not sing songs of him. Do not glorify some evil piece of shit like that. She turns around and walks out. And Solov, sort of like, thanks, Valga. And he sort of like walks out and leaves with her.
And all this time, I thought she was worked up about the war of Southern aggression.
Mouse is standing quietly, staring at Body. Does Body have anything to say?
Body is intrigued. It is holding any obvious reaction.
Well, Mouse, without comment and a very serious expression on his face, walks over to Valga and says, "We'd like to buy supplies for a week."
Oh, you're leaving us already?
As soon as possible.
Oh. Oh, that's a pity, because I was enjoying having you here. I'm losing yourselves. I'm using that rabble over there, too. Because it's going to be quiet in here. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, wait. My Ron is back. She goes, "I know exactly what I'm going to be doing tonight." She goes, yes. So, for a week. Oh, so non-perishables. Dried, salted meats. I have you. Yes, no worries. So she orders back, and she says, "This will be put a few things together, and sort of like take a seat and sort of like you want some drinks while you wait."
Well, we'd like to spend the night, I think. And I look over.
So I can get it ready for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Really?
Really sound good? That way Body can continue drinking her Blackbriar mead and.
Perfect.
Do we want some? Well, yes. I will. Our rations are in your hands, Valga. I trust you completely to treat us well.
Definitely. I shall get those ready for you tomorrow morning. I think going to need... and then suddenly, out of nowhere, you hear... And then from outside, you hear, Draugr! What do you do?
Mouse draws both daggers, looks over at Luke, and heads for the door.
I'm on his heels.
And Jaquai, Botti, what are you doing?
Sword in hand, she follows.
Roland is heading outside with you. He's chasing after you. As you all head out to the door, and he turns around to Valga and he goes, "Stay here! You! Stay here!" They head outside, and you see Koost heading towards the door as well, about to follow you out. And if I could have everybody move to roll 20, please.
Just a good point for a break.
It's only been about 40 minutes, hasn't it?
No, we broke at 4. 4 US. We broke. It's been around an hour and a half, I think, right? We only took one break, right? From around 4 o'clock US time.
Yep.
Okay, so it's been an hour and a half. Yeah, so we could take a break here. So, that's what you hear. You hear Draugr, and you all head outside the door. We can come back in 5 minutes. And just like thank everybody to listening to episode 10 of Skyrim 10 AD. Thank you very much, and hope you enjoy it. And yeah, come back and listen up as we hear why somebody is screaming Draugr in the middle of Falkreath.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Skyrim 10AD would like to thank Tabletop Audio for the use of their music in this podcast. If you would like to find more music like this, just go to tabletopaudio.com for more information. Thank you.
Thank you for downloading this edition of Skyrim 10 AD. Email the show at skyrim10ad@gmail.com. For more information, please visit asapodcasting.com, where you will find a Skyrim Addict podcast, the Fallout feed, and our Amazon link, which benefits the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation. Find our social media in the show notes. Thanks for listening.